Welcome to a new Harry's Garage video, and yes, I am back at Iain Tyrrell's Classic Cars to have a progress report on the Lamborghini Countach, the engine and gearbox rebuild, etc. that you might have been following. Now the engine is back in, but there's a few issues being discovered. You think it'd be plain sailing, it never is with classic cars, and I'm interested to see what's happening there. They're also doing some recolonising of the leather. There's an expert in such things over there. I'm going to see how he's getting on revitalising the interior on the Countach as well. Anyway, let's go and have a look, catch up with Iain. Iain, hello.
Hello.
Hi, good to see you again. I'm all right. And great to see the engine is back in.
It is,
yeah.
Yes.
Great sight.
Yes, it is indeed. It's all gone according to plan so far, apart from one intriguing detail.
Yeah, you've just shown me. Yeah, I can't believe it.
So the chassis is obviously a certain width, and the engine with the manifolds, the exhaust manifolds, is a certain width.
Yeah.
And hopefully the engine with the exhaust manifolds is a smaller width than the chassis width.
Yeah, you
would expect that.
Yeah.
Particularly using the manifolds that came off the engine. But we've got a problem. That side has got a tiny air gap between the manifold and the chassis.
We're looking here, aren't we? So we've just this gap between the chassis and the manifold there is pretty tight.
Yes.
And what you'd expect it.
And should be okay, because with the ceramic coating it keeps the heat inside, so it doesn't affect the paint on the chassis particularly. But on this side, as the Americans would say, go figure, because the manifold is actually hard up against the chassis there.
Yeah. I don't understand that.
Well,
I remember it was close before.
Yes.
And I did notice one side was slightly closer than the other, but it wasn't touching.
No.
And this has got all new bushes in. Nothing has changed. They're fixed on the chassis, aren't they? And then that's a central bush that side. Nice new engine mount. Nice new engine mount the other side. All lovely stove enamel, etc. Or powder coated.
Yes. And there's no adjustability on these. I mean, the whole thing is set up to work.
Yeah.
And it's in precisely the right position. You've got a gearbox mounting at the front.
Yeah.
You've got the two more conventional engine mountings either side under here, which we've replaced because they were crumbling apart.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, it's all sort of preset. So we're going to have to adjust this, probably send it back for recoating.
But the good news is you can actually take that out in situ. You don't have to take the engine back out again.
Yes, exactly. We'll sort it. But it is. I mean, the gaskets are, a certain width. They're no wider than the previous gaskets. You can't swap the manifolds round front to back. It is precisely the right one in the right place.
Yeah. But it can't work like that. We've got something taken off, I think, and we've got a helicopter.
That's a helicopter.
Another customer. Well, you're a customer rather than a Countach customer or something.
It's called the police force, actually.
Oh, is it? That was the police. Oh well, that's all right.
Our nemesis, not our customer.
No. I quite like how you marked this up. When I walked in, you have one of your mechanic guys working in here. This is how you work on a Countach. It's from the boot, isn't it? There's a lot of servicing is done from the boot of a Countach.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to persuade Alex to sort of come with you.
Come with you, just for snagging. Just keep him in the boot, and then
if you hear a noise, you just pull the boot release. And
Alex.
Yes.
Oh, that's good. So he's just fitting. The air boxes are going in.
Yes.
What else have we got? All this wiring. I always look at all this. What's that? Is that for an American spec or something else?
It will be. Yes. It's a generic loom to a large extent.
Yeah.
So things like
there's a lot of spare
lambda sensors, etc.
Ah, right. Yeah, a lot of spare sort of wires doing nothing up there.
And it's the same loom essentially for the injection cars as well.
That's why.
Yeah.
Well, it's good. It's coming together, but it's very frustrating for you to discover a little snag like that. But I'm glad that the manifold is in 4 parts, and you can take that one off.
Exactly.
And
we can sort it, but it's just.
Yeah.
Very odd.
Very odd. Better news, I'm looking inside.
Yep.
And Steve's down here and he's been doing recolonising the leather, hasn't he?
He has.
Steve, thank you very much for coming in, and you're having a go at recolonising my leather, aren't you?
I am just tidying up some of the more prominent marks on it, but whilst obviously, as we said, just trying to retain the patina of it and the age of it.
Yeah.
Without making it too new.
I've had a proper go at it. I've owned this car, I think, 10, 12 years now. It's It's never been touched, the leather, apart from me sliding it in and out, as you've noticed. Yeah. And you've done this side, haven't you? So, yeah.
Again, not wanting to make it look too new, I've cleaned the seal. This is obviously the bit you're sliding in and out on, so it takes quite a lot of scratching.
Yeah.
So, and then I've matched the colour to what it was, so I don't need to do the whole thing.
Right.
So essentially all I've done is just concentrated on where the damage was, obviously where you slide through. There was a bit of damage around the speakers where your feet tend to kick here.
Yeah.
And just trying to keep it to an absolute minimum. So once it all gets a nice patina back, it should all blend in quite nicely.
No, looks good. I mean, it's always this dilemma, is how far you go once you start this process, isn't it? But I just love the finish of how Countachs have this sort of polished look.
Yes.
It's quite hard to replicate now, isn't it?
It is.
And I don't know why it's different, this slightly gloss finish that you got from this age of Lamborghini. And that's why I'm nervous of going too far with it.
It was mostly to do with the tanning industry was gradually changing from nitrocellulose to water-based.
Okay.
And around about 1980 was when they started to move on to water-based pigments, but they hadn't perfected a decent sealer.
Right.
So they were still sealing it with the old clear solvent-based ones, which had a little bit of a luster to them.
Okay.
Once after around about 1990, when everything went fully water-based, it went very chalky.
That's it.
So that's when you have all the problems.
Oh, I see.
So you've got that kind of best of both worlds.
Right.
You know.
So can you actually replicate that shiny look? So
Yeah.
you're going to add, is that, you polish this?
What I tend to do is I tend to go back to what the original varnish was, which, as you can see, tucked away and little recesses. It wasn't sort of shiny.
Up here on the rim things. Yeah.
So I'll match to that, because if I do it shiny, and it's too shiny, there's no going back.
Right.
Whereas if if it's too matte, all we've got to do is just polish it up with various, lotions and stuff, and it'll all get a nice patina back.
Yeah.
So it's normally better to do it that way rather than go for shiny. But I do have vintage cars in which I do it with satin varnishes. But I've got control over that. I can go from chalky matte right the way through to shiny like a Chesterfield if we need to.
Right.
So and anywhere in between.
Well, I'm of a mind to do these because they annoyed as soon as you opened it up. I like the originality of this.
Yes.
This sort of thing slightly annoys me, so I wouldn't mind those sort of details just being corrected.
Yeah.
But I think the seats, I'm going to leave them as they are, actually,
I would.
and retain. Because I love the original. I love the Lamborghini, this shine and this peculiar sort of points. It's just impossible to replicate this sort of pattern on it. Why they use such a complicated one, God only knows.
For what you've said, because it can't be replicated.
It's
if
unique.
they've done something unique that no one else can do.
I mean, there's funny things on a Countach because it's so, the assembly of this is so out and sort of hopeless and fit of some things, and yet they do stuff like that. It's a funny old mix, but I'm really chuffed with that, and you're just about to do the other side, aren't you?
Yep.
You've masked it all up, and you love this super fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Pinto.
I have to get tape that does it sort of.
It's so fine. So fine. Yeah, looks really good though. Yeah,
good.
Great. Thanks, Steve. I'm really chuffed how it's all looking, the interior, I have to say. It's just sort of brightens it up doing this, so it does make a big difference.
Yeah, it does. Steve is just great. He really is. Can't recommend him highly enough.
Makes a big difference, because it is tricky Countach leather, isn't it? It's not normal when I look at other cars.
It does have a particular texture, and they skive it, which means that they stretch it thinner, which makes it sort of less durable, if you like.
Right.
But Steve, the brilliance of Steve's work is he only just sort of selectively does blow-ins and things, which is very difficult considering, as I'm sure he'll explain, the different materials that are used. But no, I mean, it will rejuvenate beautifully that, and it's easy to lash the whole thing, but to do with just tiny bits is a whole different ball game, really.
I have seen some restored Lamborghinis that just stand out. It's sort of the interior. It's way too puffed up and just the wrong sort of leather. Anyway, that's the reason I'm doing it. The only thing I can't get over, my Valentino Balboni signature is fading away, isn't it? I have to get him to do it again or something.
Yes. Yeah. A semi-permanent marker.
Yeah, I'll complain. Valentino, that bloody pen you used. so you're going to sort the manifold out. What else have we got to do? Obviously, you're going to put carburetors on and things like that.
We'll do a check of the carbs to make sure that the floats are behaving themselves and things. That's very prudent and very sensible while it's out. Obviously, we'll need to do a four-wheel alignment check, which we do virtually on every Countach that comes in.
Yes.
Just to make sure that's all tickety-boo. And then get rid of the electronic power steering.
Yes.
And I think we could be in grave danger of having it finished. If we don't watch ourselves.
I wouldn't know what to do. You know, I quite like my trips up here.
We've got this sort of Countach-shaped hole waiting to happen in the workshop.
Well, you've got one or two others waiting, haven't you?
Yes.
I think there's one or two others. There's another Countach over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're around. And that Diablo, actually. I was looking at that Diablo SV. I wonder if it's just worth wandering over there, because it is so close, the engine, to this. And I'm not sure what year that would be. I think they're 90s, aren't they? Late 90s, 90s?
Well, that's mid-90s in SV.
Mid-90s, right.
But I mean, it is architecturally, it's, of course, they used spacers on the cylinder heads on yours.
Yes.
Whereas on this one, it's a proper job, quote unquote.
Right.
But I mean, the cylinder heads, the architecture is
just looks the same.
In fact, they're virtually identical.
Yeah.
Really.
No, it is. And this being the two-wheel drive as well, so there's no other diff coming from it.
And to try and keep the temperature under control, the exhaust is wrapped in this second skin, which is just an aluminium skin that's
just keep the heat away from the engine bay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's good. Yeah, and somehow it looks a bigger hole, I suppose, because you've got no boot on a Diablo.
Yes.
So there's a bigger hole to get it in and out of.
Yes, and it is slightly wider as well.
Oh, is it?
So Lamborghini, we can take some small encouragement from the fact that Lamborghini recognised that the manifolds on the QVs were quite close to the chassis.
Yeah, never mind. And it's all square section tube on a Diablo, which you can see on here, which you can't on a Countach. It's all round tubing.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Airbox is the same. Yeah. Sort of sitting at the side, air cleaners.
Yes.
Sucking the side. There we are. Good. All right, Ian. Well, yeah, the manifold was our latest curveball on the Countach, but
not insurmountable.
Exactly. And I'll come and see you in a few weeks' time, and I might hear the roar of a V12 again.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can't wait.
Definitely.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. There's an update on the Countach at Iain Tyrell Classic Cars. Progress is being made. Just unfortunate about that manifold, but who knew those sort of things sort of happen with classic cars. But as I say, fixable, and I'll be along in a few weeks to see how it looks then. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, keep watching, keep subscribing. More videos coming along very soon.